I am an absolute believer in lifelong learning for everybody. Everybody keeps learning. And so let's think about using technology to help people learn new things. And lots of folks, in various settings go out on trips. And how much are the advocates, the self advocates, actually involved in the process? And by being involved, could they learn a little bit more just about the logistics of the trip and also how tech can help them? Tech and advocacy by taking a trip. Here I am in Westchester County, New York, and I'm using our area as an example. I don't know if any of you have used Google Assistant yet, but it is an absolutely fantastic app. Free, emphasize the free, and you can either type in your queries or you can just speak it, and the speak recognition is pretty good. So I typed in, what are interesting places to visit in Westchester County, New York? And this whole lesson is started a couple of years back when I was doing a self-advocacy session with some folks, and they were complaining that in this group home, they didn't get to go to the Oktoberfest at Bear Mountain State Park. And we didn't know how much it was, and then nobody took charge. And so I said, well, why don't you make that a great self-advocacy exercise? And they did. And the next year they got to their Oktoberfest and had a great time. So this is what's spurring this whole lesson. Let the self-advocates decide where they want to go. But just like any of us planning a trip, we'll find out all the details of the place and sort of like do a little pre-learning before we have the experience. Google Assistant in 2 seconds gave me a whole bunch of choices, and I narrowed them down to 4 that are within relative short driving distances. Rockefeller State Park, Phillipsburg Manor, which is a very old historical home from, I think, the 17 or late 1600s. The new Croton Dam that was built at the turn of the 20th century, and a lovely park and garden down in Yonkers, the Untermeyer Park and Gardens. So let's just, for this example, take those 4 locations and see what we're going to do. First, have everybody gather around their iPad or their iPhone or their computer at program and search for each site. And so go and look up, the Rockefeller State Park and Preserve and all the other sites and ask these questions. What makes this place interesting to us? Not to staff, but to us. When is it open? Do they have tours? Some places will actually give you a free tour guide, a free docent, if you give them enough warning in advance and you get them to prepare for your visit. How much does it cost per person? Is there a place to eat there? Or do we need to think of other food options? Bringing a lunch? Are there nearby restaurants? Is there a McDonald's nearby? How long will the trip take? We're all dealing with sometimes very limited windows of opportunity. So how long is that going to take? And Google Assistant, all you have to do is say, how far is it from my location to the Rockefeller Preserve? And it'll give you an estimate in time and mileage and also provide you directions by car, by walking, by whatever way you want to go. Can we take pictures? Some places, like museums, don't allow pictures. Other places do. But you want to make sure that you have memories of the trip. What time are we going to get back? Is it going to be a crunch at the end of the day to get back for transportation? Or, is this just going to be an hour trip? Whatever. I'm sure you can think of 20 other examples of questions. The thing is that you're learning about it beforehand. And this can apply to anything. If somebody's eventually going out on a job interview, they can use these same skills about what time should I travel there for my interview, how much money will I need for the bus, all these things, basically to learn how to cope in the community. Now that we've gotten all those facts about it, and we've decided, all 4 of these are pretty darn good. It's hard for us to choose. I'm using the Decide Now app. which is a very affordable app. You take your choices and you can see here's the new Croton Dam, Phillipsburg Manor. They're all scattered around this spinning wheel. And you, on your iPad, just take your finger and flick it, and the whole wheel spins. And instead of having long, agonizing discussions about which place should we go to, it's simple as pie. The spinning wheel will decide what the trip will be and what we'll talk about. Okay, so you spin it and you get to the destination. For the sake of argument, let's say we go to the Rockefeller Preserve. We're getting ready for the trip to the preserve, and on any iPhone and the equivalent Android device also has reminders. Go into the reminder app and just let everybody know how much money should they bring for the day, how should they dress, what kind of clothing should they wear. You know, if you go into the preserve, sneakers or boots are probably a good idea. Remember, if everybody has a iPad or digital camera, whatever, take lots of pictures because you're going to use them later. Take brochures, and maybe even on your iPhone, record some sounds. Like if we were going to the Croton Dam and the spillway was open, it makes this thundering roar that would be absolutely fantastic to capture. And anything else that you can think of that may enhance the trip. Sometimes you may want to have one person be like an internal guide for the trip. Put them in charge of really making sure that we get all the information and we're not passive there, but we come to the experience knowing a lot about the place already. Now, the final thing, once you get back from the trip, open up your app Book Creator, which is under $10. Apple highly recommends this. I've used this a lot personally. And it's an app that you can very easily add pictures, sounds, and text, or do a voice narration. Collect all the documents that you got together. If you got some brochures, you can take pictures of the brochures and turn them into a photo that you can insert into the document. And you could have a memory book of your trip there. And you could choose individuals to do narration, or one of the wonderful things about Book Creator, it allows you to just press play and it has a built-in voice that can read the whole document. If I was going to the Rockefeller Preserve, I might find out that the Rockefeller family was instrumental in donating this land to Westchester County. It's one of the largest recreational spots in the county. It's gorgeous, has tons of riding trails and walking trails, open year round. And isn't it great that people have preserved some wild spaces within a pretty urban setting? We're pretty close to New York City. And you could expand upon it, go as crazy as you want, take pictures of people actually doing things at the park. The main thing is you come back from this trip and you have not only learned about the place, you've created something that you can then share with your agency, with your family, with your other self-advocates, and put it in your memory books and talk about it. A year from now, you can say, gee, that was a great trip. Let's plan another trip. You just don't want the days to go by without doing something interesting, right? And the more that you can learn about how to do things for yourselves, organize together to make a trip and suggest it and to actually go do it, the better off you'll be, not just at your individual program, but throughout your life. I'd really encourage you to try this, go through this exercise, and hopefully it'll be a good experience for all.